Rivalry between Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor was never just about wins and losses. It was never just about knockouts, title shots, or pay-per-view numbers. It was personal, layered, and scarred by moments that cut far deeper than any punch thrown inside the Octagon. And on a quiet February morning in 2026, long after one man had retired and the other had vanished from active competition, that rivalry roared back to life in a way nobody expected. Dustin Poirier had walked away from the sport 7 months earlier. He left his gloves in the center of the cage in New Orleans, surrounded by a thunderous crowd that had watched him grow from a reckless young fighter into one of the most respected veterans in UFC history. The book seemed closed. The Diamond had nothing left to prove. A career defined by wars, by redemption, by charity work through his foundation, by near misses at undisputed gold, had finally reached its final chapter. Retirement appeared peaceful. He was doing analyst work, spending time with his family, living in Louisiana, grounded in the same community that shaped him. But peace does not erase memory. On February 7, 2026, Poirier logged onto social media and quote-posted a clip of one of his past exchanges with McGregor. The caption was short, sharp, and loaded with intent. He reminded the world that he beat him twice, and that it felt good. Within hours, the post detonated across the MMA landscape. Thousands of likes, hundreds of reposts, endless debates. A retired fighter had just reignited one of the most combustible rivalries the sport has ever seen. This was not random. This was not boredom. This was history resurfacing. To understand why that single post carried so much force, you have to go back to the beginning. September 27, 2014. UFC 178. A brash Irish featherweight was rising fast, cutting through opponents with surgical left hands and psychological warfare that felt theatrical and cruel at the same time. McGregor dismantled Poirier in 106 seconds that night. A first-round TKO. It was devastating, public, humiliating. For McGregor, it was liftoff. For Poirier, it was a reckoning. He later admitted that he fought emotionally that night. The trash talk got inside his head. He abandoned discipline. He swung with anger instead of patience. And he paid for it. But something shifted in those 106 seconds. The loss rewired him. While McGregor ascended to global superstardom, knocking out Jose Aldo in 13 seconds at UFC 194, becoming a simultaneous two-division champion at UFC 205, and crossing over into boxing against Floyd Mayweather, Poirier rebuilt himself quietly and methodically at lightweight. He sharpened his boxing. He refined his grappling. He evolved from emotional brawler into calculated tactician. When they finally ran it back at UFC 257 in January 2021, the dynamic had changed. McGregor entered confident, but Poirier carried something different: composure. He attacked the calf relentlessly, dismantling McGregor's base piece by piece. By round 2, the damage was catastrophic. McGregor's leg buckled. Poirier swarmed and finished him. It was the first knockout loss of McGregor's UFC career. The rivalry was tied. But what followed is where the bitterness deepened beyond sport. There was the donation dispute. McGregor had pledged $500,000 to Poirier's Good Fight Foundation. According to Poirier, communication stalled. The promise went unfulfilled. Public accusations followed. McGregor questioned the charity. Screenshots circulated. The professional rivalry morphed into something far more hostile. By the time they met again at UFC 264 in July 2021, the tone was venomous. McGregor's trash talk targeted Poirier's wife. It crossed boundaries that could not be uncrossed. For Poirier, whose wife had supported him from juvenile detention to dingy motel rooms early in his career, those attacks were unforgivable. The third fight was violent from the opening bell. Exchanges on the feet, scrambles on the ground, elbows, pressure. And then, in the final seconds of the first round, McGregor stepped back and his leg snapped. A gruesome fracture. The fight was stopped. Poirier won again. 2-1 in the trilogy. To some fans, the injury created debate. To Poirier, there was no debate. He believed he was punishing him. The numbers supported it.
Control time.
Significant strikes. Momentum. The series was settled. McGregor disappeared into surgery and recovery. Years passed. Teases of comeback surfaced. Social media proclamations about wealth, power, and future dominance filled timelines. But he did not return to active competition. Poirier, meanwhile, continued fighting. He challenged for the undisputed lightweight title. He fought Justin Gaethje again. He battled Islam Makhachev. He closed his career in a farewell war against Max Holloway in Louisiana. He retired respected, accomplished, but without the undisputed belt that narrowly escaped him 3 times. And yet, despite retirement, despite closure, despite distance from the cage, the McGregor rivalry remained unresolved emotionally. When McGregor publicly congratulated him on the birth of his child in early 2026, Poirier did not engage. There was no handshake, no olive branch accepted. The damage from the past still lingered. So when Poirier posted that message in February 2026, it was not about chasing another fight. It was about defending legacy. About reminding a vocal portion of the fanbase that history cannot be rewritten. The official record reads 2 wins to 1 in his favor. He finished McGregor twice at lightweight. That is fact. Speculation now swirls around a potential 4th fight, perhaps even on a historic card rumored to take place at the White House. McGregor continues teasing a return. Poirier insists he is retired. But the fire clearly still burns. This rivalry defined an era. McGregor transformed the sport's global profile. Poirier embodied resilience and growth. Their trilogy delivered knockouts, controversy, broken bones, and unforgettable moments. And even in retirement, the tension refuses to fade. Because some rivalries do not end when the cage door closes. They live in memory, in pride, in unfinished emotional business. So now the question becomes yours. Should there be a 4th fight if McGregor returns? Does Poirier owe him nothing after winning the trilogy? Or is this rivalry destined to resurface one more time for a final, definitive chapter? Share your thoughts below, join the debate, and make sure you like and subscribe for more deep, dramatic breakdowns of the biggest stories shaping the fight world.